In the summer of 2009, Liverpool made a bold and intriguing move in the transfer market. With Xabi Alonso leaving for Real Madrid, the club turned to a new midfield maestro, Alberto Aquilani. Signed from AS Roma for around £20 million, Aquilani was meant to be the creative heartbeat of Rafa Benitez's midfield, a deep-lying playmaker with flair, intelligence and technical elegance. But what unfolded was a curious and frustrating chapter, not only in Aquilani's career, but also in Liverpool's recent history. Between 2009 and 2012, a period of transition and turbulence for Liverpool, Aquilani made just 18 league appearances. For many fans, he remains a mystery, an enigma whose promise was never truly unlocked at Anfield. Injuries, management changes and shifting club dynamics meant that the Italian never really had the platform to shine. But was he simply unlucky? Or was there more to the story? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the forgotten playmaker before, during and after Liverpool. We'll revisit his emergence in Rome, where his talent earned comparisons to and from Totti and Pirlo. We'll explore his short but technically gifted displays in a red shirt. And we'll track his nomadic career post-Anfield, which took him across Italy, Portugal and beyond. Was Aquilani a victim of circumstance? Or a signing that should never have happened? Did Liverpool give up on him too soon? Or was the writing always on the wall? Looks like we're in for it this video. So, let's talk about Alberto Aquilani, the forgotten Italian of Merseyside. Before his ill-fated transfer to Liverpool in 2009, Alberto Aquilani was seen as one of the brightest midfield prospects in Italian football. Born in Rome in 1984, Aquilani was a product of the AS Roma Youth Academy, a club steeped in tradition and famed for nurturing homegrown talent. Even as a teenager, Aquilani's elegance on the ball, his vision and his passing range marked him out as special. After making his debut for Roma in 2002, Aquilani was sent on loan to Serie B side Trequartista for the 2003-04 season. There, he got his first real taste of regular first-team football, playing 41 times and showing the kind of maturity and technical quality that would soon earn him a recall to the capital. Back at Roma, Aquilani began to establish himself as a first-team regular during the 2005-06 season. His style of play, graceful, intelligent and composed, drew inevitable comparisons to Roma legend Giuseppe Giannini. That resemblance earned him the nickname Il Principino, or the Little Prince, a nod to Giannini's own moniker Il Principe. While his development was occasionally hindered by injuries, including a lengthy thigh problem in the 2006-07 season, Aquilani still managed to be part of a Roma side that was building real momentum under Luciano Spalletti. Alongside Daniele De Rossi and Simon Perrotta, he became part of a dynamic midfield core, playing a vital role in Roma's attractive, possession-heavy style of football. Between 2007 and 2008, Aquilani enjoyed domestic success with Roma, winning back-to-back Coppa Italia titles and lifting the 2007 Supercoppa Italiana. These were peak years for Roma, who were consistently challenging for the Serie A title and impressing in Europe. Aquilani's performances didn't go unnoticed, not just in Italy, but across Europe. By the summer of 2009, with Xabi Alonso leaving Liverpool for Real Madrid, Rafael Benitez was in the market for a technically gifted, deep-lying playmaker. Aquilani, still only 25, seemed like the ideal candidate. A player with Champions League pedigree, international experience with Italy, and the flair to replace Alonso's influence. But while the move to Anfield would become one of Liverpool's most questioned signings, the hype surrounding Aquilani wasn't without reason. Before the injuries, before the inconsistency, there was Il Principino, Rome's little prince destined for greatness. When Liverpool signed Alberto Aquilani in August 2009 for £20 million, expectations were high. He was seen as the elegant, intelligent midfielder who would step into the void left by Xabi Alonso's departure to Real Madrid. A product of Roma's academy with a reputation for flair and creativity, Aquilani arrived with pedigree, but also with problems. From the start, it was clear that Liverpool were taking a gamble. Aquilani was injured upon arrival and wouldn't make his debut for over 2 months. By the time he featured, Liverpool's season was already unravelling. His debut came in a League Cup defeat to Arsenal, followed by a handful of late substitute appearances in the league. His first start didn't come until December, in a Champions League match against Fiorentina that ended in defeat. His Premier League debut in the starting 11 followed later that month, and he was warmly received by the Anfield crowd. But glimpses of talent were all Liverpool fans ever really got. To his credit, there were brief moments of promise. He scored a well-taken goal and registered an assist in a 4-1 win over Portsmouth. He was voted man of the match twice in succession against Portsmouth and then Fulham. He even put in a standout display against Burnley, providing 3 assists in a 4-0 win. But these performances were exceptions, not the norm. Aquilani finished the season with 26 appearances in all competitions, just 2 goals and very few matches where he completed the full 90 minutes. He struggled to stay fit, struggled to adapt to the intensity of English football, and never found consistent rhythm in a Liverpool shirt. When Rafael Benitez left in the summer of 2010, new manager Roy Hodgson made it clear that Aquilani wasn't part of his plans. He was sent back to Italy on loan, a quiet and unceremonious end to a Liverpool career that had barely begun. Looking back, Aquilani wasn't a terrible player, far from it. He had quality, but he was never truly available, never truly settled, and never truly lived up to his price tag. For Liverpool fans, he remains a symbol of a transitional period at the club, a forgotten playmaker whose promise was lost in a haze of injuries, timing, and misfortune. After his time at Liverpool, Alberto Aquilani's journey became a winding path across Europe, filled with moments of promise, but also with the nagging inconsistency that had plagued much of his career. In the summer of 2010, Aquilani returned to Italy on loan to Juventus. The hope was that a season in Serie A would revive his form and confidence. He made 33 appearances for the Bianconeri during the 2010-11 campaign, often playing a deeper, more orchestrating role in midfield. While he showed flashes of his old elegance on the ball, Juventus ultimately decided not to trigger the €16 million option to buy, citing both financial concerns and tactical priorities under their incoming coach Antonio Conte. Aquilani's next stop was AC Milan, again on loan. This time for the 2011-12 season. Milan saw him as a natural fit for their midfield rotation, as he featured regularly in the early part of the campaign. However, injuries and form once again interfered. A clause in the deal meant Milan would be obliged to buy him if he played a certain number of games, and as the season progressed, Aquilani found himself sidelined. His appearances seemingly managed to avoid triggering that clause. Despite contributing with 23 appearances and a couple of assists, he returned to Liverpool yet again, unwanted by Milan. In August 2012, Aquilani finally secured a permanent move away from Liverpool, joining Fiorentina for a modest fee. This period marked a relative return to stability. Over 3 seasons in Florence, he made over 80 appearances and played a key role in Vincenzo Montella's possession-based midfield. Though no longer the wonder kid of his Roma days, Aquilani brought control and creativity to Fiorentina's engine room, even scoring a Serie A hat-trick against Genoa in 2014, a rare feat in his career. Following his spell in Florence, Aquilani sought a new challenge abroad and joined Sporting CP in Portugal for the 2015-16 season. Though he started brightly, he struggled to nail down a consistent place in Jorge Jesus' starting 11. He played in 19 league games, but by the end of the season, both parties agreed to part ways. The latter stages of his career saw him return to Italy with Pescara in 2016, followed by a short stint at Sassuolo. Injuries and diminished playing time made this a frustrating period. And in 2017, Aquilani took his final leap abroad, signing for Las Palmas in La Liga. It was a brief and underwhelming tenure, and after only a handful of appearances, he retired from professional football in 2018. Internationally, Aquilani's post-2012 Italy career was minimal. He earned a few caps under Cesare Prandelli and was part of the squad that finished third at the 2013 Confederations Cup. However, he never quite cemented a place in the Azzurri's plans again, as a new generation of midfielders emerged. Though Aquilani's career never really fully reached the heights once expected, he left behind a legacy of technical brilliance and resilience. In many ways, his post-Liverpool journey was a testament to a player trying to rediscover himself, and at times, briefly succeeding. Ultimately, Alberto Aquilani's story is one of immense talent, undeniable potential, and unfortunately, unfulfilled promise. Not through lack of effort or ambition, but through circumstances that often lay beyond his control. As we trace the arc of his career from his early days at Roma, where he was seen as one of Italy's brightest midfield prospects, to his final playing days at Las Palmas, there's an underlying thread of brilliance tempered by misfortune. He was a player who always tried to bring a unique blend of elegance and intelligence to the pitch, but whose progress was consistently interrupted by injury setbacks, tactical mismatches, and instability at key moments in his career. Perhaps nowhere is that tension more evident than in his time at Liverpool. Aquilani arriving on Merseyside in 2009 with considerable expectations. Signed as a high-profile replacement for Xabi Alonso, his transfer was greeted with hope and curiosity by fans eager to see what the Italian playmaker could offer. But from the outset, he was on the back foot. Injured when he arrived, he missed the start of the season and struggled to find rhythm in a team that itself was in transition and decline under Rafael Benitez. Despite flashes of his technical class, his vision, passing range, and ability to dictate tempo, Aquilani never had the consistent run of games needed to impose himself. When he did play, there were moments where you could see exactly why Liverpool took a chance on him, but those glimpses were all too fleeting. It's important to remember that Aquilani didn't fail at Liverpool because he lacked the quality. He failed to take root because of the turbulent context he found himself in. A team losing its core identity, a manager under pressure, don't even get me started on Roy Hodgson, and a league that rarely gave midfielders like him the time and space to thrive. The fact that he was eventually loaned out and never truly given a second chance felt less like an indictment of his ability and more of a reflection of how quickly football can move on. In many ways, Aquilani became a forgotten figure in Liverpool's modern history, not because he deserved to be, but because he arrived at the wrong time in the wrong circumstances. After leaving Liverpool, He continued his career with spells at Juventus, Milan, Fiorentina and abroad, each move an attempt to recapture consistency and redefine himself. But even then, injury and instability seemed to follow him, preventing him from ever truly settling. Still, there was always a sense that he was trying to find the right environment to express his football, to leave a mark that reflected his early promise. In retirement, Aquilani has taken up coaching, most notably with Pisa, where he has begun to build his identity on the sidelines. Much like during his playing days, there's evidence of a thoughtful footballing mind at work, one keen on imprinting a clear style of play and culture. He's a coach now, but the search for consistency and clarity, so elusive during his playing career, remains at the heart of his journey. Alberto Aquilani's career may not have hit the heights many expected, but to dismiss him as a flop or a forgotten man does a disservice to the player he was and the circumstances he battled through. He was a footballer who embodied elegance, who wanted to play the game the right way, and whose story is worth remembering, especially for Liverpool fans who, had things gone differently, might have seen a very different chapter unfold at Anfield. If he had reached the heights once expected, he would have left behind a legacy of technical brilliance and resilience. In many ways, his post-Liverpool journey was a testament to a player trying to rediscover himself, and at times briefly succeeding.